You wake up to a familiar view, your garden. That modest patch of soil, filled with potential, but still far from the thriving empire you imagine. You've been here before. You've planted, watered, waited, watched, wondered. At first, it felt like a guessing game, like throwing seeds into the wind and hoping one would sprout into something magical. But the truth is, behind every rich garden you see on the leaderboard, behind every beautifully aligned patch of paradise, there's a strategy, a pattern, a story of trial, error, and that one lucky break when the right crop met the right moment. In the early days, you're tempted by everything shiny. New seeds, vibrant plants, interesting names. You buy a little of this, plant a little of that. It's all exciting at first, but then it hits you. None of it feels consistent. Some crops grow too slowly. Some take up too much time. Others, well, let's just say they look better than they perform. And slowly, you begin to crave something else. Something smarter. A path that leads not just to beauty, but to value. You don't want to just play the game anymore. You want to master it. It starts with a seed. A very specific seed that doesn't stand out in the shop. It's not glowing. It doesn't scream riches, but something about it feels right. You plant it. Just one. Out of curiosity. And within moments, boom, it sprouts. Not in the dramatic way that makes fireworks go off, but fast enough that you take notice. You harvest it. Plant another. Same. Result. The rhythm is smooth. So smooth, it almost feels like cheating. But it's not. It's just smart. You found your first secret crop. And suddenly, your garden feels alive. You double down. You dedicate a corner of your land just to this little powerhouse. While others are chasing variety, you're focused. You found your tempo. And with every cycle, you get faster, more efficient. This crop becomes your foundation, the silent worker that never lets you down. You begin to rely on it, not just for rewards, but for momentum. It becomes your morning routine, your comfort zone. And as it keeps giving, you start looking beyond it, not because it stops being useful, but because now you're ready for the next level. The second crop you find doesn't come to you. You go looking for it. It's bold, untamed. It practically dares you to try it. At first glance, you hesitate. It's not as quick. It's not as predictable. But you've grown. You've learned that not everything that starts slow stays slow. So you give it space. You nurture it. You study how it behaves. It demands more care, but the payoff is different. It's not just about harvest speed now. It's about impact. When this crop matures, it changes the flow of your entire field. It feeds more than your inventory. It feeds your strategy. Suddenly, you're not just collecting. You're timing. You're maximizing. This crop teaches you patience, and it rewards that patience with waves of growth. By now, your garden is no longer random. It's intentional, a living organism. You begin to notice small details, shadows, growth cycles, even how your tools behave in certain areas. That's when you notice something odd, a crop that others seem to ignore. It doesn't look promising, but something tells you to try. Just one seed, just one experiment. What happens next surprises you. The crop grows differently, not in speed, but in effect. It interacts with the space around it, boosts the health of neighboring plants, speeds up processes in strange, quiet ways. It's not the star of the show, but it's the one making sure the stars shine. You test it more, arrange it strategically. Suddenly, you're not just planting to grow, you're planting to enhance. Your entire layout transforms, not by force, but by synergy. This crop teaches you that success isn't always about direct gain. Sometimes, it's about influence. And just when you think you've found your rhythm, you stumble on a crop that almost escaped your radar. It's not flashy. It's not fast. It doesn't promise the moon. But something about it feels grounded. It grows steadily, predictably. It doesn't take much, but it gives enough. It's not your ace, but it becomes your anchor. You plant it in between the big crops, in between the speed growers. It fills the gaps, keeps the garden breathing. This one teaches you consistency, balance, the quiet art of keeping things flowing when everything else feels chaotic. Then comes the final crop. You've probably heard whispers about it, maybe seen glimpses in another player's garden. It's rare, hard to unlock. You don't just get this one, you earn it. Through time, through understanding, through commitment. And when you finally plant it, something changes. The air feels different. Your tools react faster. your layout adapts. This crop doesn't just make you money. It transforms your garden into a system. One where everything works in harmony. No wasted space. No wasted time. Each cycle feels like a symphony. The fast growers keep the beat. The heavy crops bring the drama. The boosters add flavor. The fillers keep the flow. And then this one is the conductor. It brings order, precision, wealth. You look at your garden now, and it doesn't just feel full. It feels wise. You remember the early days, those first clumsy taps, the uncertain waiting, the desperate experimenting. And now, you're in control. You know what to plant, when to plant, and why. But this story isn't about crops. Not really. It's about growth, your growth. It's about learning the language of the land. About noticing the quiet power of certain seeds. About choosing intention over impulse. These 5 crops didn't just make your garden rich. They made you a better gardener, a strategist, a quiet master of the soil, and the best part? The game's still growing. There will always be new seeds, new updates, new challenges. But now, you face them with knowledge, with rhythm, with confidence. You're no longer chasing riches, that you've become the kind of player who grows them. This crop transforms the energy of your entire garden. Everything becomes more efficient. The pacing shifts. You realize this one crop doesn't just grow fast, it grows smart. It respects your time. It builds upon all your earlier work. It rewards players who stayed consistent, who learned the game's flow, who didn't chase every shiny thing, but focused on understanding the land. By the time you've mastered this final crop, you're no longer just a player, you're a strategist. You don't panic when new updates drop. You don't get lost in options. You know your garden. You know what works. And every time you plant, you're planting with purpose, precision, and quiet power. These 5 crops aren't just top picks. They're stepping stones. They teach you patience, rhythm, risk-taking, observation, and mastery. And if you treat them right, they'll grow you a garden not just rich in harvests, but rich in experience. The kind of garden that other players look at and wonder, how did they do that? But you'll know. You'll remember the days of planting blindly, of chasing speed, of failing and learning and growing. You'll remember that one crop that grew faster than anything. The wild one that made you pay attention. The quiet one that changed the whole layout. The balanced one that never let you down. And finally, the one that turned your garden into gold. And as you stand at the edge of your virtual plot, with the sun rising again, you'll smile. Because you're no longer searching for the best crops,